So I've been playing Attack of the Friday Monsters. Man, I do love my quiet, quaint, silent, chill, peaceful little town. What the fuck? Japanese towns, bro. The fuck you fucking finna do about them? Gonna walk around, maybe social link, maybe have a little kiss, have a little shit and come? Or maybe you're just gonna make an entire series about them, but keep them to yourself because you're fucking racist? That's what developer Millennium Kitchen did anyway. Boku no Natsuyasumi, or as my dyslexic ass said it, Boku no Natsuyami is a series that do just that. You walk around, go bug hunting, fishing, swinging, sitting, just whatever really. Every day starts off with a fam moment and there are some side questy like things and story beats, but nothing will be mandatory. You can fill in your day exactly as how one would want. And Attack of the Friday Monsters doesn't really roll that way at all. This is very much a spin-off, you see, in that it has more of a story-driven linear structure with very clearly defined goals and even proper waypoints and quest markers and shit. Nor does it have a real-time time, as the whole thing takes place in one day, being Friday. You play as Sota, who's a poor boy from a poor family and is also the new kid in town, which would have been hard enough on a kid as is, but he's also tasked with running errands for his parents and has to deal with the social hierarchies of the local children and their shitty games, and also there's like talk of monsters and aliens and meteors, and he can't even use the swings! As a game though, things is pretty simple. You're told to go to a place as shown on map, and so you go to that place where a story will happen, after which you get a new destination appointed to you, repeat. There are some side quests, or subplots rather, that one can trigger and solve just by walking about, but you will still just be walking about. You can't go fishing or bug catching or rock skipping. The only real mechanic that it has is a card game. As stated, the local childs have this master/servant hierarchy where the ones who win at the game can put a spell on the loser and make them their slave. All around town you'll find these things that'll form cards once you 7 of a certain color. Picking them up takes just long enough for it to become a very small smidge tedious, but then the card game itself is neat enough for it not to matter mostly, as it's primarily centered around a straightforward rock, paper, scissors elemental thing, but also just really numbers. You put the cards down opposite of your opponents, and if yours has a bigger number, it'll win. The catch, however, is that these cards need to be put down face down, ass up. You'll get 2 hints, and both of you and your opponents are allowed to rearrange it accordingly, though aside from that, you'll largely just be left in the dark as to whether or not you'll win, until you eventually do or don't. Again, it's nothing super complicated, and if I'm honest, it feels kinda tacked on last minute upon them realizing that their entire game consisted out of walking in between dialogue boxes. But it is still a neat enough distraction regardless, which is what it is also, by the way. You'd think that this would take center stage as a mechanic, but weirdly enough, there seems to be only one mandatory card fight over the whole game. I guess that doing them can get you extra hints as to where things be, given that your slave child will have to help you out, but it doesn't seem to have a whole lot of bearing on the game overall. Nah, instead, Attack of the Friday Monsters is all about the Attack of the Friday Monsters. 'Cause, I mean, duh. It's in the fucking title, you dick. Thing is that it is set in quite the quirky little town. Not only because of the monster rumors or the train crossing that never opens, or that it, despite being in buttfuck nowhere, seems to have a high-grade tokusatsu production company in its midst, ran by this lady who literally screams all the time, but also because everyone in it seems rather mysterious. There's the one cop, for instance, who salutes you every time, which is cute, but also seems entirely unwilling to do like much of anything about the monster problem. To the dismay of his daughter, aka the baker lady, who will develop an epic feud with him as a result. Then there's the local kids who do the cards and the monster mystery hunting, but also this weird magic. And so there'll then be this persona-looking ass Igor motherfucker called Frank who critiques their magic while being all, "Your dad is a man, and your mom is a woman, right?" I see. That makes things even more suspicious. To which I must say that the only suspicious one here is him. But of course, there's also the bad kids, who do the bad things like being all, "Ha! I don't care about you punks!" And basically, the gang actually do shit now rather than just wrestle bugs. It kinda has this kid adventure vibe about it. Even more so than the laid-back Boku games do, being that, as established, things may or may not be actually kind of fucked here, what with meteors crashing in, and this creepy evil factory on the horizon as well, relating to the monsters somehow, and, of course, the big production company that I'm sure has nothing to do with it either. What? What is it? I heard something terrible. Oh, if you're talking about that anchor who farted during the morning news, I've already let him have it. Essentially, the main thrust of the plot isn't so much about whether or not if there are any monsters, but more so about how it manages to toy with its contrast of childlike imagination and the cynicisms and troubles of adults. Like, one of the early conundrums, for instance, involves a rumor about being able to hear monster noises coming from the well. However, the local bad kids have a monopoly on it and won't let a boy listen. Said well, though, is connected to a drainage pipe, and so, to chase them off, you need to situate your ass on the opposite end of the pipe and scream into it. Which might seem like a pretty run-of-the-mill puzzle, right? Well, where this gets really cute and interesting, as many things in the game will, is in the fact that Sota's scream sounds like on his end, but like on theirs, which really would have made shit feel as if everything was just these stupid kids imagining things, if there wouldn't also be this mysterious monster hunter slash researcher slash black shirt man showing up immediately after, who, just like all the other adults, seems to acknowledge the looming monster threat with a straight face. Though he also happens to be the writer for the monster show, but that Igor guy still keeps popping up in all the wrong places, yapping on about this being your fate, so it's definitely real, you guys. Where the cynicism comes in, though, is in the cheeky, subtle writing of said adults. I mean, you'll be running back home, answering to tell your mom about this big secret that you've just uncovered, as loud, bombastic music dumps away in the background all, Mom, I know about this big secret. And then your mom's just like, "Oh, you mean like the money I've been hiding from your dad?" Which you'll then just whoosh right over his big wee little head. And I fucking love that, and it's far from the only moment like it as well. Thus striking a strong balance between things seeming very real with everyone acknowledging it, but also playfully cutting down to earth level from time to time, to really make you question whether or not if any of this dumb bullshit is actually happening. Add to that, the still very amazing aesthetic with the hand-drawn anime backgrounds, the perfectly blended cel-shaded models, the musical cues like the bombastic shit, perfectly stringing you into the kitty madness, and the warm, rural, smart town vibes with the crickets, creeks, snaking train-laden railways that make for constant motion, and the radios and tellies blasting from people's open windows, and you end up with something that's as lively as it is quiet. Surreal, yet grounded, and overall just a very nice-ass place to be, and the perfect setting for this wee mystery. The Guild series is a project by developer and publisher Level 5, which was founded by Akihiro Hino of Overblood fame, and Professor Layton too, I guess, and Nino Kuni, but fucking Overblood though. And the series was to be, and was, and is, a sort of simple series for the 3DS, but instead of low-budget crap, we're just gonna give y'all full creative reign to make something small and cute. Suda, for example, made Liberation Maiden, which was this weird-ass shooter mech game with visual novel elements, and I'm sure I'll play it someday. Yasumi Matsuno, aka the Evil East guy, made a short text adventure but with images style JRPG. Keiji Inafune of Capcom's Dark Age and Mighty No. 9's infamy did a Wii game about tanks fighting bugs, and there were many, many more. Like I said, none of these games were meant to be big, they're just Wii experiments on the cheap, and Milkitch clearly saw that as an excuse to use their small-town sim expertise to tell a cool short story set around one. Hence why Attack of the Friday Monsters is only like 3 hours long and very low on the old interactivity. The Boku no Natsuyami shit serves as more of a backdrop, a stage, if you will, for this narrative. And I'm gonna be honest, I was a little bit disappointed by its restrictive nature at first. Though, once I started looking at it based on its own merits, i.e. said short storyness, I started to fall for it quite quickly. So, while it certainly is what it is still quite great for what it was, which is what it is. And if that is something that you're into, then what it is certainly for you. If not for me, as I thought it to be pretty cool. And that's where I'm gonna end it with a bunch of really stupid rhymes.